Thank you for staying with us. The Director General of the National Boundary Commission, Surveyor Adamu Adaji, has urged for peace and progress in resolving the long-standing boundary dispute between Abia and Akwa Ibom states. At a stakeholders meeting in Abuja, he emphasized the Commission's commitment to finding a harmonious solution that respects historical and legal boundaries while prioritizing the safety and development of border communities. The boundary dispute, which dates back to 1985, has been marked by hostility, destruction of lives and property, and abductions, particularly in areas where the field tracing exercise stalled in 2014. The committee also expressed grave concerns over recent escalations, including fatal incidents affecting the Nkari people of Ini local government area and allegations of encroachment into farmlands in Obotmi. Joining us in the studio for this conversation is public affairs analyst Ziggy Ibe. Ziggy, good morning.
Thank you.
It's good to have you join us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Now, let's talk about these age-long matters. Matters of land dispute is something that one has to address carefully and look at critically. And we know it's been a land dispute. It's an age-long issue, as like I rightly pointed out. And I'd like for you to look at the historical perspective to this issue. There's the matter of Decree 23 of 1985 concerning this matter, talking about markings and measurements or alignment and how that is even the root cause of what is going on.
Oh, thank you. I wish the issue will be put to rest forever. But unfortunately, it has always stared its ugly heads on us, always. Land issues are not yet abated because the authorities who are supposed to put end to it maybe are not doing all they could do to arrest that situation. How do I mean? Issues like this, if you talk about the communities that border to each other on this very land dispute, they are not even two. It is Abia, Cross River, and Akwa Ibom. Okay, and those are 3 points environments that borders on this environment. And what do they suppose to do? If you watch land issues, it has an encompassing issue. It's an encompassing issue because if you talk about those who are interested in either taking the life of themselves, there are so many times sinister issues, opinions, those who want to either grab the land for themselves and all that. But the authority, like I earlier said, are not actually wading into this.
How?
Now, when the Abia Akwa Ibom own reared its ugly heads, meetings were not called in the affected areas or in the affected states. Rather, it was in Abuja. I should have thought that the battle or the discussion should have been taken home.
What difference
where the locals, those who are involved in this, should be involved in the discussing issues. Do you understand? Because now, now that the discussion has been taken to Abuja for cases that are involved in Abia and Akwa Ibom, the locals, those who are directly involved in this, might not attend.
But they have representatives.
Oh, yeah, but I'm talking about the locals.
I know.
Those who are directly involved in this land grabbing thing, in these land issues, because each time a land tussle is experienced, the people that are involved are not actually the highbrow individuals. They are not.
That are called to have conversations.
Yeah, that are called to. Most times they are not even being called or being involved in discussing the issues. It is like when the issue of this was called for discussion, those that attended are the deputy governors of each of these states. Okay? And these are not people who actually are involved in the matter, in this tussle. If you held a meeting in the locality, you definitely will have one or two ideas of why the issue is being escalated. Because who are involved in these conflicts? It is the locals. It is the people, not actually these individuals. Because they can only go there. Look, the first cause of issue is when those who are not involved begins to discuss issues that are not directly involved.
It wouldn't be holistic.
It wouldn't capture the individuals that are involved. Okay? And that's the first error. The first error is that the people involved are not being carried along to actually proffer solution.
Yeah.
Aid their minds. Talk about it. But when you involve only the high-profile individuals who might not even know anything you are talking about, they only have heard. Okay? And look at where the meeting was convened. It was in Abuja. Instead of convening it in Abia or Akwa Ibom, where the locals will have the opportunity to attend and give first-hand information. Because I, for one, I've been involved in my community has been involved in light tussle. It's not an alien to many of us here. When people that are involved are captured in the discussion processes, you certainly will come to a conclusion and have a headway to it. But when you only involve people who stay in Abuja, who stay in government houses, who sometimes don't even know what you are talking about, they only go there to have a little understanding, or they go there with a little mindset or a little idea of what you are talking about. That's the first thing I frown at.
Okay.
Okay? Now, conflict between two persons can never be discussed in absentia of those who are involved. It must be holistic. The people must be carried along, so that you certainly will come to the understanding of why, or the root cause of the issue.
Okay, so probably they would have thought that rather than have this meeting in the community where this is happening in Abia or Akwa Ibom State, they should probably have shifted it to Abuja, based on security concerns and the fact that the conflict might escalate if it is handled, if the meeting is at the states, either of the states.
If the handlers, or if the gatekeepers, those who wants to wade into this, if they were afraid of the security situations of the environment, they should have held it in government houses of those states.
Well, is it not the same thing?
I'm not asking for town hall meetings where you hold it in close to the environment where this happens. I'm talking about where meetings will be held and individuals involved are asked to attend and proffer solutions.
This matter has been on since the 80s, and nobody could think that it's important to bring the meeting back home.
And that is error.
It's mind-boggling.
That is the error. The error is as large as that you are not involving the locals, the people who are directly...
The people who are directly involved did not raise the alarm that you guys need to involve us.
Do you even know?
Also a lapse on their part.
Sometimes, do you know how far governments is to the people? Do you understand? The distance...
They have chiefs.
I'm coming. Yeah, those are lapses in leadership. If you look at sometimes the distance between the government and the people is so wide. And if you are talking about conflicts that involves the locals, the communities, the conflict, land tussles, those who are involved are not the government workers.
I know.
They are the locals of the people, and these are the people that should be called.
Leaders. They have elders. They have chiefs, local chiefs, and who engage with the government at a certain level.
And they have leadership hierarchies.
I'm wondering how this message is not, getting to the various levels such that they must know that there's a need to come home and address this.
Good. And I rightly said here now that while we keep having issues of this nature, or while we keep having recurrence, is because the discussion has not been taken to the locals. The discussion has not been taken to the community where they are happening.
And I'm saying,
rather, the people that we call that the high-profile individuals who might not be the reps of these people. Now, look at this discussion. Let's take it down. Unless we are not having the details of those who attended that discussion. But we were told that the deputy commissioners of each of these states involved were there. But I've not read about their reps. I've not read about the people's reps. I've not read about their local chiefs. I've not read about the PGs, the president generals. I've not read about people's reps.
Now, get my point now. And I'm saying that if it bothers the people, now I'm going to the side of the people demanding for them to be represented. If the government, on the other hand, is not seeing the need. Do you get my point?
Yes.
Because this is a two-way thing, right? The show is pinching me, but yet you are going to have a conversation.
And I can't come discussing about the shoe because I don't know the position of the pinch.
Now, me that know that the position is pinching me,
you know better.
For you.
Good. So you see the lapses, you see the issues. So when the real people are not being involved in the discussion processes, you certainly will not get to the root of the matter because every matter has a root, the cause. So until you discuss the cause, you can never get it. And this is why we keep having recurrence everywhere. In all the states of the Federation, we have communities conflicts, we have land grabbing issues, we have look, do you know that National Boundary Commission in it has an arm that discusses about states land titles, and they are called boundary committees. They've once come to my place. Ega, Ojo, Umeje had once. And when the rest of the government came, the involvement of those who came were not effective because the locals about that time were not involved. I know how many people that were involved to discuss the issue who are not directly involved in the land melee. They are just there. Sometimes when you talk about the issue, they wonder where you are talking about. Just the same thing we have in other places. On another forum, I talk about, this land charge personnel supposed to be arm of boundary adjustment commission. Do you understand? Because they discuss, they go to the site, they go to the areas where these things are being seen firsthand, but they don't. And imagine you discussing an issue you don't have a firsthand information. You can only suggest. You can only guess. You can only permutate ideas. You understand? And that's why we keep having recurrence everywhere until we have a firsthand idea of issues. You can't get to it.
The question I asked was the matter of Decree 23 of 1985 that is said to be the root cause of this issue. There are those asking that that law be repealed because of the matter of the tracing and all of that. That law is actually what is causing the hostility and every issue happening. Do you think that
does the law encourage hostility? The answer is no. Does the law encourage, does it encourage anyhowness? The answer is no. Repealing this and enacting another one isn't the issue. We are not lacking laws in Nigeria. It is the implementation of those laws that is lacking. Okay? And what causes conflicts? It is greed of the people. It is greed.
Who is greedy here now?
The locals, the communities, the states, the individuals.
How do you mean? Because they might tell you it's our right.
It's the greed of the people, because then the failure of the agencies or the failure of the leaders to actually make emplacement of those lands or boundaries. Because what causes conflict in a particular region? It is a place that is not marked, rightly marked out, no emplacement. What is wrong when the NBC go around or do some needfuls like going to particular states and take the people, the state, the locals, to area to actually trace where yours starts.
The last time they did that was, I think, 2014.
Yes,
report.
where yours stopped.
That's 10 years ago.
When yours starts and when mine when yours stopped and when mine starts.
Yeah.
At that point, we should be able to have so many placements like this, like, there's no way I'm coming to encroach on your own. But when boundaries are left open, you and I will drag. In fact, normally, there's houses and empty lands we buy everywhere. If that land is not being occupied for some time, when you get there next time, somebody will encroach onto it because it doesn't have a demarcation. And that's exactly what it looks like. Okay? When boundaries are not fully specified, areas are not mapped, when next you go there, who wants to use it will certainly might encroach or will get into the other boundary or other space. But if NBC would do the needful,
the boundary commission,
which is getting to mark out where yours stopped and where mine starts, putting all the placements in lands, we put beacons. In lands, we put we grow trees or plant trees to demarcate, to give positions where my own stopped and where your own starts. And these are clear definitions of land positions. Such, if that is not done, if it's not done, there's nothing anyone can do. We keep having it.
So now it is, you are putting the blame on the Boundaries Commission.
Oh, sure, because that agency is set up to do all those. They should have a commission. During my own time, or during when they came to my state and all that, what they do was, I personally suggested that let's have a emplacement. Let's begin to mark out where it belongs to us, Iga, and what belongs to Umeje, which is in Anambra State. Okay? Because even in Kogi, we slightly had an issue too with Kogi at Echowon. And when they were taken there, it was the same suggestion. Until you mark out, even in the environment where we live, in your neighbors, sometimes you want to overstep your boundary. And your neighbor will tell you, okay, here no belong to you. Let me get here. So you understand? So this must be specifically mapped out. Once it's mapped out, there will be no controversy. Okay, so the controversy that is being caused is because no clear demarcation of ownership.
Right. Since there seem to be traditional rulers in those communities, is it not important they come together to map out the boundaries, as you have said, without even going to the government itself?
That's the greed of the people I mentioned earlier. If the people are not greedy and money conscious or politically want to enthrone others, there will be no issue of such. Okay? Because most times it is politically motivated. Or this land grabbing attitude. This belongs to you. Sometimes, do you know many of the land issues or tussles are known even by the people who are dragging this? This place doesn't belong to us.
So why have these bloodletting? Why have these issues everywhere?
Then the greed of the people. The greed of the people. Then the traditional rulers, the royal fathers. I just hope they know their duties, because one of the duties, paramount duty of a royal father, is to monitor those areas so that people stay out of troubles. People don't go into this kind of unnecessary conflicts, because it has taken so many lives unnecessarily. I mean, it's avoidable.
Yes.
Very avoidable. But the royal fathers should take this up, liaise with his locals, and specify areas that belong to them and where doesn't belong to them. But then the issue now is the greed of the people. Will it allow them? Because some people overtly will want to encroach on other people's land, believing that they are powerful and government cannot do anything.
Enforcement agencies.
But they overstretched. They overstretched.
No, but so this is their duty.
Yes.
This is part of their duty.
It is.
If you know someone is grabbing your land and you want to ensure that everything is done as it should be and is resisting you, then you go to the law enforcement agencies to do the needful.
When you get there, the corrupt nature of the people
now,
has taken us away from this, has wiped up the sanity of the people. Because when
you cannot assume that all of them are corrupt.
I'm not. I say some.
No, you said the corrupt nature.
Some.
I wanted us to specify.
Some. not all of them. But some. Like, okay, for instance, where we are now, which is in Lagos State, when you had land issues with your neighbor and you call on the agencies or the leaders that are directly involved in this, okay, they might not come. Do you know what they do? They might invite both of you to their own office. They will invite both of you to their own office. Why not go to have a first-hand information and
they will not get to decide.
But it is the same thing as calling the two governors to Abuja. That was my first take here. That what you do is to go to the site, go to the land. See what it is. See what it is. Then at that point, involve the locals, the generation that actually knew much about the land. But when these people are not involved, and you call only the politically elevated individuals who don't know anything you are talking about, then you've not get to the root of the matter. In fact, the only message you can only send is on air, on electronics, and tell them, stop this. And the people you are even sending to don't have phone. They don't have radio. They don't have TV.
They have electricity.
They don't have electricity. So how do they listen to what you are saying from dish and information you are dishing from Abuja or directly?
Then it means that we are not being serious. And
that's it. That's exactly what I said. I said the NBC should delve into or should carve out. They have already. Don't carve. So asking me, they want to repeal a law and they enact another one. Are you making that one you're enacting more effective than what you have already? Our problem in the country is not having more laws. America has a booklet, just a pocket booklet of a constitution. Our own is voluminous. I hope you've seen our constitution, how big it is. So our problem is not lack of laws. We have, but it is enforcement.
Right, and ensuring that. Anyway, let me not go there. But then, that's the NBC talking about the National Boundaries Commission.
Yes.
Do the needful.
Yeah, keep setting up boundary adjustment committees
and ensure that it is clear.
It is clear. So, because when you come and say this paper here is not my own, and you and I have been dragging about it, when they come on a foresight information, when they come, they will look at it and say, this paper is yours. How do you get it? Most times, you know, you require to even produce the ownership document of some of these lands, but they don't go to Abuja with it. Because these papers are being domiciled somewhere.
All right. That's not good. Yeah.
This Abuja matter is spending you.
Yes, it is. Because we are not taking the fight to where it happens.
All right.
Yes.
We'll leave the conversation here. Ziggy Ibe, public affairs analyst. Thank you so much for your time.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much.